Now I'm really super excited for our final speaker today. He's amazing, and he comes from the Nellie K Parker School in Hackensack, New Jersey, where he teaches 4th grade. He began performing spoken word poetry while studying at Rutgers University, and he went on to become a fixture in the local art scene and was recognized by the Academy of American Poets. He's an author and illustrator of multiple children's books, and Toney Jackson writes and records music as well. He now brings that passion of the arts into his classroom, engaging students with hip-hop and poetry. If you ever visited the Microsoft Education site, you've seen his face. So please join me in welcoming right here today, Toney Jackson. Great to have you here joining us at Hack the Classroom. Toney, thank you. Good to see you.
Good morning, everybody. I love when people make fun of teaching. It's probably the best thing you can do. If you have any real hope of reaching into the minds of those in front of you, then make the learning fun. Help them enjoy. The work should be balanced out with the play, so think about the tactics you'll employ and how you'll manage to make fun each day. And yes, you must make fun of yourself too. Be brave enough to look silly or dumb in front of students looking up to you. It's better they be laughing than be numb. Ultimately, it all comes down to this. What's fun is simply harder to resist. Thank you. That was a sonnet that I wrote, and it has to do with my philosophy about what I always want to bring into the classroom before anything else. That is fun. I enjoy writing poetry, and this is a little bit about where I came from as an educator. So this is my dad. My dad and my mom met while they were both educators in the same school. He had a glorious mustache. I ended up meeting my wife in elementary school. We weren't married then. But eventually we both came back and reconnected as teachers in the same school. We still teach in the same district today. My mom worked in the district, and she gave me my diploma when I graduated. So teaching was all around me. It was in my blood. Of course, this led me to believe that I was going to be a rapper. Thankfully, my parents pushed my passion. I ended up in the classroom just like them, and this is my 12th year now. I love it. But pushing me to follow my passions is something that I will always be thankful for. Because no matter what I decided I was going to do, my parents had trust in me. They instilled in me the courage to follow that passion and gave me the curiosity to seek out my calling. When I first started using rap in the classroom, it was just for fun. It was what I loved, and I wanted to help my students have something they could enjoy as well. I started reading and researching and learned about educators like Chris Emdin, who created Science Genius. He was the first person that I heard talking about hip-hop as a pedagogical approach for learning. So I started thinking that this is exactly where I want to be. Although I wasn't seeing it many places, I figured it fit right into my classroom. I thought about the basic elements of hip-hop culture, not just rap music. Rap is a part of it. It's the vocal transmission. It's speaking, it's writing, it's literacy, it's vocabulary. Also, DJing and turntablism. As we heard before, the idea of the remix, sampling, using old things to make them new. Also, technological innovation, it ties into science and STEM. B-boying, breakdancing gives us kinesthetic learning and exercise. It breaks up the monotony and gets people moving. And then graffiti, when beautifully done, is actually a part of literally changing the environment and the community around you. These are public works. So all of this helps to inform what I wanted to bring into the classroom. And I really appreciated that my parents pushed me to be courageous enough to do this. As a performer, I experienced boos on stage. I experienced cold chills from the audience. Literally, I had an ice cube thrown at my face. I wish that was a joke. But despite reactions that were less than stellar, I kept going. I wasn't afraid to continue what I knew I could hone into something powerful. Winston Churchill said that success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that's what we try to instill in our students and also have to practice as teachers. Speaking of Winston Churchill, this is our corn snake and our classroom pet, Winston Churchill. I can tell by some of your reactions that you are thinking the same thing that many of my colleagues do. There's an element of fear there. It keeps some people away from my classroom. I have to kind of pull them over. But that brings me to my next point. Fear. It's something that stops us all in our tracks and does the same thing for our students. It's incumbent upon us to make sure that we teach them how to push forward and push through that fear so that they can succeed. Mark Twain said, "Courage is the resistance of fear. It's mastery of fear, not the absence of fear." And the important thought there is that students need to understand it's okay to have something that challenges you, that makes you afraid. Don't let that stop you, because your courage is going to push you beyond that. I believe that students must learn how to find their voice. They must learn that there is power within that voice, and they need to know how and when to raise that voice. Again, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we show them how to do that. That brings me to recess. Recess is something that my students were afraid of losing. They noticed that in our recent schedule, there's been some shifting, and it seems like there's less and less time for them to actually play, whether in the classroom or outside. I noticed this, I heard some of my students talking about it, and decided to bring in an educational podcast that discussed the benefits of recess just for my students to hear. I wanted them to know that I'm seeing the things that they are concerned about, and now I want to put it in their hands. Through the broadcast, one of the students raised her hand and said, "Mr. Jackson, can we write a persuasive letter to the vice principal about extending our recess time and possibly be the first class in Bergen County that'll have more recess and it'll help our learning?" I said, yes. Yes, you can. And I wanted to make sure that I said you can, because this is something that the students were suggesting, not their teacher. That made me smile so hard, I had to fight it back to get through the rest of the conversation and the lesson. Other students started popping up. "I'd like to help. I'd like to write a letter. Can we make our own podcast? Can we write letters? Can we do interviews with students? Can we do more research and surveys?" Yes, 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 of course you can. The students were starting to recognize, and I could recognize in them, that they had a voice and they could use it to help more than just themselves, but others around them. That's what we need to do. I brought in my setup so that my students could create a podcast or videos and they could use it themselves. I'm supporting them, but they're doing the actual good work and making the change themselves. Let's teach them to face fear and fail forward. It's important that they know that they can make changes instead of just waiting for somebody else to make them for them and so that they happen around them. We want them to become content creators instead of just consumers, and all of this helps them to realize that their voices have value. I think it's important that we don't leave our passions at home. When you go to school, make sure that you have the courage to share them. Accept and embrace that you don't know everything. You will make mistakes, but you can adjust, be flexible, fail forward until you succeed. I've actually spent a lot of time thinking about how I could use my passions in the classroom, and I didn't realize that my passions would go from taking me to the stage to taking me to a different kind of stage. I'd like to leave you with this. These are my 10 class commandments. I bring these always with me into the classroom, and hopefully you'll take them too. 1, take a minute to center before you enter. Reset your mental before you're stepping into the temple. The simplest little ridiculous issue could hit you and set you against the kids, and that may turn them against you. 2, be sure to be in the moment. Find and then dive into teachable moments. Let the kids teach. Be a proponent of them showing off what they learned so they own it. 3, never rely on a textbook. Turn the page. Be adaptable. That's the best look. Find a way to make any lessons relatable. Engaging them and being creative is not debatable. 4, only talk as much as you have to. The kids have ideas and questions to ask you. 5, never disrespect or embarrass. Imagine if it happened to you or you were the parents. 6, no one is perfect. Quit it. Learn from mistakes. When you make them, admit it. 7, this rule is so underrated. Traditional testing is so antiquated. Find new ways to assess and evaluate. Learning is more than a grade you can calculate. 8, approach your field with a passion. Students can tell when you're acting or lacking. 9, take time to reflect and learn more, to sharpen your sword, not just to earn more. Now, that's a benefit, true, but when it's in you, the knowledge does more than just benefit you. Now, 10, last but not least, respect. Don't mince your words to students. Be direct. Raise the stakes of success you expect. Don't expect to inspire if you can't connect. Connect. Learn about the kids, the community, their background, the town. Suspend what you believe. Drop the stereotypes at the door. Never set a limit. They can always achieve more. Never judge by the grades that you record. Before you keep on, know what you teach for. Make it fun. Blow minds like some C4. Follow these rules and we'll all reap the rewards. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony.
I have no words after that. But we've had some amazing presenters today, have we? Let's give a round of applause for everyone who's joined us today. And thank you so much, Toney.